This again. No, we had a little technology failure in the first hour, so I'm sorry we had some segments that didn't quite make it. I'm your host, Stephen Willis. Thanks for joining us. Well, today I really want to talk to you about what happened this weekend, especially with our new overlords, the Sun Belt, calling the shots, making Big 12's teams quit. And everybody is going to snap to judgment as if this is just like any other year. But it's not just like any other year. It is most definitely not just like any other year. But first, follow on Facebook at the Stephen Willis and at Old Positively. Join our Facebook group. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow our Facebook page, and basically, we're trying to build this as much as possible. There's going to be kinks like today, what happened over the next couple of months, but we're trying. We're trying to think of a unique way to present content to you in a way that is completely free. We do not want to ask you for your money, your hard-earned money. Spend it on something else that you like, but that should not leave you uninformed when it comes to Ole Miss. So that's kind of our motivation here. Now we're going to be all video by next football season. All our shows. We're going to branch out and have maybe a Mississippi high school scoreboard show, or we're going to do a post-game show. We're just going to keep building and building and building, and hit the notifications on whatever app you're partaking of the channel on, because then you can be notified of content, and we'll let you know when something has happened. You don't have to be glued to your phone. You don't have to be glued to your TV. Something is just, it's already happened. Here we go. So that's the idea of Positively Ole Miss. Completely free content for not subscribers, but people who want the information. There's no sense in you having to pay for it. Just join up. There's no premium offered at this point. I cannot watch practice just as well as anybody else. I can not go to press conferences as well as anybody else. And a little inside baseball, those press conferences are where the stories that they do are going to come from. As poor questions that are asked, that's where they're going to write stories from. And if you want those press conferences, they're on a YouTube page. We have a playlist of Ole Miss football that's going to put the press conferences in their entirety. You can judge for yourself what that means and how poor questions are being asked, and if what you're interested in is even being pursued in the first place. You automatically know right then from the press conferences that, oh, they did not ask their pointed question that needed to be asked, so here's another week of not knowing what is going on. They only get Lane Kiffin on Monday. That's today. That'll probably be up on the site by the time you listen to this. So just give those a listen as well. We're building out our YouTube page to include great games from the past. Every game just about from last season is on there, and basically we have our playlist already created for On Demand 2020 football, so you can just go there, click on it, there's the game. That's how you're going to find it. So we're going to do that. I don't own those games. That's somebody else's playlist. I'm just linking to to them and aggregating them into one spot to make it easier for you. So, well, all hell are Sunbelt overlords. Billy Napier, Coastal Carolina, and Arkansas State. They all went to the Big 12 and took down Big 12 teams, so now the Big 12 is garbage, right? Not quite. Now, a lot of the media, they're going to try and cover this like it's any other college football season. They're going to try and be prisoners in the moment like they have been in recent memory. I mean, it's not their fault. They don't understand what they're seeing. But so to them, the Big 12 is just obviously down. Now, never mind the fact that Kansas State, through many of their workouts, and Kansas, had to leave because of COVID concerns. Never mind that Iowa has been smashed as well on COVID cases. And that's affected their run-up. Never mind the fact that they had no spring practice, no fall camp. Never mind that. They were behind the 8 ball to begin with. But now, you add those COVID issues, you're going to have upsets. Now, why do I tell you that? Well, basically, I want you to know that if a team is a 2-touchdown favorite, it's not automatic. Not like it normally is. It's not automatic. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? A 2-touchdown underdog is not an automatic. Well, pay attention to that moving forward, especially when the SEC starts. Now, they're going conference only, so they're not going to run into these issues so much like the Big 12 and to some extent the ACC. But pay attention to these issues. All right, we're going to take a break. Stay tuned after the break. We're going to talk a little sloppiness in college football and the fact that we receive votes in the top 25. All right, stay tuned. We'll talk to you in a minute.
Only 10% of us get enough daily exercise.
And that number is dropping.
Nearly 30% of us are overweight or obese.
We spend 6 hours a day in front of a screen. As a result, we now have a shorter life expectancy than our parents.
But give us the right start in sports, and we'll never stop.
Learn how at active4life.ca.
Hey, this is Stephen Willis from Positively Ole Miss. We're almost done with this break. We'll be back with good information quite soon.
The military has been in every generation of my family, and so has VA. It wasn't easy for my dad after Vietnam, but VA helped him and my mom get the home they'd always wanted. My grandpa's been coming to VA since World War II. They even helped him lay to rest one of his battle buddies from Normandy. And me, I followed in their footsteps and served with pride. And now that I'm out of the military, the GI Bill's helping me with school. Every generation of my family has served, and VA has served us all.
We're back. We're back. Coming out of our first ever break on the podcast. That's pretty fantastic. But I want to talk to you now about the AP poll and sloppy football. That's what we're going to do this segment. That is kind of the plan. So, the football is sloppy. I mean, there's going to be people that defend it. There's going to be people that trash it. But the reality is this. The repetitions that players would have gotten in spring, the repetitions that players would have gotten in fall camp, the meetings that would have happened in fall camp and spring practice did not happen. This is important. This is all about recall. You can walk through, you can do whatever you want to do. You can walk through, you can watch film, you can do practice now. Nothing will make up for those lost reps. So this season, it's going to take about 5 weeks to get to where football looks normal again, where the players are kind of caught up. Because those reps, well, you can't really make up the reps. You can't get to a point where critical mass is hit. And they're starting to retrieve it or whatever. They can pull from it easily. Sorry about that. So what we need to realize going into this is you end up with a situation where Georgia Tech, a 13-point underdog, beat Florida State. Coastal Carolina, a 14-point underdog, beat Kansas. Louisiana, a 14-point underdog, beat Iowa State on the road. Seriously, congratulations, Billy Napier. All props go out. But, especially early in this season, those lack of reps become readily apparent. And when that happens, it closes a talent gap. Because what Alabama does and what Florida does or LSU does is they have the best players in the country. They have well-drilled best players in the country. So if you removed well-drilled from it, it becomes a more even playing field. So looking at in the first couple of weeks, I would probably, if you're a gambler, bet the under on most games, and I would consider taking the underdog to cover. Just because the games are going to be much more low scoring than they normally are. The defenses are going to be ahead, and the talent advantage isn't going to be as readily apparent. So keep that in mind moving forward. Speaking of that, a couple of show ideas for next college football season that we're thinking about doing is like a segment with a handicapper sponsored by Casino and Sportsbooks where it can break down these gambles. They can break down these plays. And we're also looking at, doing a post-game show, high school report. It's going to be pretty cool here in a couple of months, but we need to get set up. This is a step-by-step process. We're only on step 1 of probably 25 to get where we want to be, but we're growing. As you can see, the thumbnails have changed a couple of times over the last couple of weeks, but that's intentional. We're trying to make it what we want, and we're trying to make the POMcast what we want. Like this season, we're planning on doing an instant reaction piece at the end of a game. Just 15 minutes, just hit the high points. You watch the game, you saw it in your eyes. You want 15 minutes to prove your point, and then you can go on about your day, watch other games, whatever. So we're planning on doing that this year as well. But the new AP poll is out, and the Sun Belt, I for one welcome our Sun Belt overlords, has 2 teams ranked in the top 25. That's pretty cool. Louisiana and Appalachian State ranked in the top 25. Louisiana ranked after their impressive win on the road against ranked Iowa State, and not just beat them, kind of made them quit. They ended up winning 31-14, aided by 2 special teams touchdowns. But it's a really well drilled defense, and the offense is just ground and pound. It's the stuff you like to see. It was good physical football. Billy Napier had it clicking. I like Levi Wallace. Not Levi Wallace. I like their quarterback. Can't remember his name. It's not my job to know his name. But he's turning out to be quite the player. Now, Coastal Carolina beating Kansas State. That's a feel-good story because of Wendy Anderson. Blake Anderson, the head coach of Arkansas State's wife, who lost her battle with breast cancer last year. This win has to be a feel-good moment for that family. Congratulations to them. Now, as we move forward, we're going to deal with postponements and things like that. Like I said, with this season, there are no ignore the consequences, celebrate the high points. That's the only way to get through this season correctly. If you're not doing it, you're doing it wrong. And maybe you just want to be mad. It's like, okay. But ignore the consequences. The postponements, Virginia and Virginia Tech, which was supposed to be the primetime ESPN game this weekend, got postponed to December 12th. They moved the schedule around and made it work for TV and all that. But at this point, we don't have the Virginia Tech game, and we can all make jokes about how they wanted that to be at the end of the season anyway. But Houston and Memphis postponed. Memphis apparently had a pretty severe breakout after beating Arkansas State in week 1. BYU and Army postponed. That was going to be the CBS 2:30 game this week. I don't know what will be in that slot now, but that was going to be in this slot. And with those postponements come realism. I mean, this is a slog. This is actually happening. And this season needs to be treated, a 10 or 11 game spring practice. The reps count. The eligibility doesn't. There shouldn't be consequences for coaches. Southern Miss Jay Hobson. And all in all, it's, going to work out. Now, Ole Miss also in the AP poll received 5 votes this week. They didn't receive votes last week. They received 5 this week. So, congratulations on Ole Miss getting back to that level. Lane Kiffin hasn't coached a game. We haven't seen a quarterback. We haven't done anything. But between last week and this week, according to the media, improvement was made. So they're still behind, I think, Mississippi State, who has 7 received votes. Ole Miss has 5. They'd be about 32 at this point, 31, I think. But with Florida coming to town, that shows you, with them being in that position, a win over Florida, and they're probably ranked week 2. This is going to be a weird year, guys. Get ready. Strap in. If you can't handle change, if you can't handle being adaptive, this is going to be hell on you. Only people that embrace change, extremely flexible, are going to enjoy this college football season. So, all right, we're going to go in and take break number 2. Stick around.
You want to answer that, don't you? I bet it's just killing you seeing the soft glow just inches away. Someone wants to tell you something or ask you something. Oh, come on, answer it already! Just so we're clear, that wasn't my fault. Next time, ignore your inner voice. Don't text and drive. A message from Florida's trusted choice independent insurance agents.
Hey, this is Stephen Willis. I just want you to stick around a little longer. We're going to get back to the podcast right after these messages.
Tonight, nearly 40,000 veterans across the country are homeless. These men and women have pledged to serve our nation, and now we must serve them. Landlords across the country have helped make significant progress in reducing veteran homelessness by making housing available, but there is more that we can do to bring our veterans home. Visit www.va.gov/homeless to see how you can get involved. And if you are a veteran and you are experiencing homelessness, please call 877-4AID-VET. Thank you.
All right, welcome back. We're here for our Vandy preview. And our Vandy preview is, barring COVID-related issues, Ole Miss should win the game handily. They are competing for the worst team in the West with Arkansas. What does that mean? Well, that means that they lost their quarterback. Keyshawn Vaughn is no longer there. Kalijah Lipscomb is no longer there. Their big tight end is also gone. They have to replace all of them from an already bad offense. Now, on defense, they have 9 or 10 people coming back before COVID situations. I don't know what that's going to look like before our game. So I'm just going to go on the fact that they're all here. I mean, that's something that that's how I'm going to handle this. So, Ole Miss should beat Vandy by 21 points, even though it's in Nashville. Now, Vandy is the only school in the SEC that is not allowing fans in the game. 0% capacity. 0% capacity. Now, everybody can make their jokes. I mean, Vandy was already practicing social distancing, yada, yada, yada. But the main thing is, for Ole Miss, a lot of people aren't going to be able to go to Nashville and get that trip this year because it's not available to them. So you have to wait 2 more years to get it, since Vandy is the permanent opponent. But looking now, we're through 6 games in the preview, and I have Ole Miss at either 2-4 or 3-3, with a chance, like, this is one of those maybe 4-1 in the final stretch games. They're games that they should be in. Now, there are also games where new coaches should be coming into their own. So these last 5 games is where Lane Kiffin and Mike Leach and Sam Pittman and Elijah Drinkwitz should make noise in the SEC. They should. I mean, that's perfectly understandable. About that time is the number of practices where you would start a season and have a spring and a fall camp. So about 5 games in is where this should look right. Now, if you look at Ole Miss, especially offensively, we have a podcast series called Boot Camp the Offense on the YouTube channel. Again, subscribe, hit the notifications. Anytime we do a new video, you will be notified, whether it's uploaded or we're doing a stream. So definitely hit the bell, click all, and, that way you'll never go without. We're looking in 6 to 8 months, whenever we get to our video podcast, putting information, things like that, make the video segment, and just drop it in the corner of, subscribe, hit the bell, and it'll all look like it's supposed to. So it's going to be fun. I am so looking forward to the next 18 months of my life. I am so excited. I can't even tell you how excited I am. Now, many people know a year ago I went through brain surgery, a couple of them actually, and 15 days in ICU and everything looked doom and gloom. Well, take that year of recovering, of having to sit around and working and seeing what was going on, almost an outside perspective, and realizing that journalism and everything that we do is basically like an interstate with on-ramps being the next advancement. So it's a very slow track. It's like driving across country. Every exit ramp, an advancement. So I realized that you don't need the road. I can just buy a plane ticket. I can skip all the places. Like, they're always trying to make you go to a second location. Everything in advertising, everything in journalism is about trying to get you to go somewhere. Why can't we bring it to you? Why can't we bring it to you? The technology's there for it to happen. Why do you have to go somewhere when they could bring that to you? It's amazing, and everything I have planned, I've told you guys about 3% of, and I'm just really excited about what's going on. I need to move to my palatial Central Florida estate, build a couple of studios, and we're gonna go. We're gonna have some fun, and that's just great. It's just the best. But again, I am terribly sorry about the technological glitch at the beginning of the podcast. I somehow hit export and it didn't export the first segment or the third. I don't know how it happened. I listened to everything, checked the audio, did the whole 9 yards. It just didn't export. So we're trying this again, and hopefully you will be able to hear this. But while we're going to bring contact to you, we do need a favor from you. We need you to go to the YouTube page and subscribe. We need you to go to the Facebook group and join. We need you to follow us on Twitter. We need you to follow our Twitch channel. We need you to join our Discord server. We need you to join our subreddit. And those will become avenues to inform you. Basically, all you're doing is signing up and just clicking one button that you can do in a half a second so that you can be notified in the future when something happens. Think about that. For the first time, you're notified when something happens. No more missing breaking news. No more being 15, 30 minutes behind. Everything's right there. You know something happened because this popped up on your phone. Now, the re-air of the POMcast will be at 8 in the morning. The POMcast will be at 10 in the morning. And we're thinking about doing something at 2, but today it'll probably be this because we messed up. We really thank you guys for coming or joining us. See you tomorrow.